Hey guys, good night. I am late. I promised that I would start at 5, but my co-host Anika is not here tonight, and I had to go alone. So here I am. And I went to great lengths today to make sure that everything is in place, um, and to make sure that I'm able to bring you my launch. Uh, as you all know, I am Carletta Figaro, and welcome to my Domestic Violence Resources book launch. Um, Please ask persons to join. I'm calling on my friend Valine if she would like to join me live. She had a big part to play in me becoming an activist and really getting into this domestic violence awareness and advocacy. I am a survivor of domestic violence. I survived 9 years. Um, in my early stages of life, survived 9 years. My first experience with a real relationship was a very tumultuous one, I should say. And I am here, really. I am sharing part of my story in my new book entitled How I Escaped 9 Years of Torture, because that is how I felt. I was tortured for 9 years. There were, some people say there were good times. They would want you to remember the good times. But when the bad times overshadow the good, you always what I'm doing, I'm sharing my experience to encourage others, to let them know that there is life after domestic abuse. Recently, we had a young girl in the all over Facebook. She was murdered and dropped off at the San Fernando General Hospital by her boyfriend. And there was a lot of questions as to why she went back, because she left and she went back the Friday. I think by the Sunday she was dead. Saturday, Sunday. I'm not sure. I didn't get a chance to follow the story because I was very busy trying to put my own stuff together. So I was unable to follow up and see what is happening. I'm definitely gonna follow up on that, and I'm definitely gonna bring that story to you guys. But today I am here, and first let me start with a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, I thank you. I thank you for the opportunity to be able to present. I thank you for the insight to be able to come up with the material that I've come up with and to be able to share what I've shared in my new manual. I thank you for all those who would look on to this live or even who would come thereafter and look at it. Um, I ask you that persons would see it fit to support my book and go out and purchase it and share with somebody who would need this material. I thank you again tonight. I thank you for safe travel. I thank you for my children, my friends, my family, my co-host Anika, sorry, even though she's not here today. Be with her, strengthen her on every bending corner. In Jesus' name I pray. I thank you also for those who made it possible, for those who supported. I thank you for Shanti Weston for supporting. For I thank you also for Pearl Phillip. She also supported for Figure and Associates law firm in New York for supporting. I thank you for all those who supported their so far and who's about to support. In Jesus' name I pray with thanksgiving. Amen. Guys, I have come to very big lengths because I was trying to get my book printed in Jamaica, and the quality that I was getting and the prices wasn't what I was willing to work with. I had um my sample done in Jamaica, and I also got quotes from the UK, and what I saw, I'm very happy with. So I'm literally here in London, and I am bringing to you my book launch out of, where am I? Uptown, London, United Kingdom. All right, so welcome, guys. I'm gonna share. I would like to present with you um, some footage as to why these stuff like what I'm doing right now why the booklet, why sharing information on domestic violence is important. So I'm going to share with you a video that is circulating right now on Facebook, and then we'll get into the book itself.
Tape it, video. Watch my brother, watch him. If you need that for nothing. Watch him. Now, play with the police. Watch him. Watch out, shop with you. I'm walking about fire. Yeah, perfect. Come, she didn't know. Come, she cheer. Yeah. When you go, don't suffer. You feel escapes. You look down. Okay, I kill. Yeah, I do nothing. Yeah, I'm going to pay me up. Facebook, one time.
Dog, I don't like how that little girl bowling now.
For true.
Dog.
Dog,
There's
you feel she got
Martin,
answer?
Shh.
Oh, that is so crazy.
What do you want? I can't say this.
Stay tuned.
Dog.
One back and all after the night.
For true.
Who's this one over there? Hi, Irene.
Only shh.
So this here is a video of a gentleman who think that he is God. From the video, I don't know what happened, but he's actually abusing, beating this woman. It was shown by a neighbor who's actually taping from outside. So they are literally taping. If you look at the video, you'll see that they're seeing through their window or whatever, and you're seeing through the burglar proof that the woman is lying there, and this gentleman is abusing her while she is lying and screaming, begging for help. You see where the shadow of the child come in the room, and he's asking the person to leave his mommy alone, whether it's a boy or a girl. And this is what women deal with on a daily basis. Every day, 365, 24/0, we have women being abused in Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, otherwise. And it is becoming way too prevalent. And if you listen, you hear them laughing. And you don't laugh in a situation. We're thankful that they were able to tape and be able to put the information out there. And I hope that the police would follow up on it and see where this is happening and do something about it. I remember during the curfew, I think, there was an incident where some children were breaking the curfew and bathing at a pool. And they did a video and they say, Gary Griffith or whatever, come and catch me. And within no time, he went there and he was able to whatever cyber information, get their location and go there and lock them up and set an example. I want to see things like this happening. So where this video came out here, I would love to see and to know that somebody in authority would be able to use whatever IP address and get to that location and lock up that gentleman, not that gentleman, that man or whatever he is, who tell himself that he is large and in charge and he could hold this woman at siege and do whatever he feel to do with her. This is my hope today. All right. The incidence of domestic violence is way too prevalent. I deal with it on a daily basis. As most would know, I'm a domestic violence advocate and an activist around the issues of domestic violence. I'm also a trained survivor advocate mentor. And this is what I do on a daily basis. And it is hard to see that, yes, I've been through it. So you know what it feels like when a woman call you and they're crying and they're saying that they're being abused and they need somewhere to go and there's nowhere to go. All right. We are fortunate in Trinidad that there are shelters available for persons who are willing to run. In Jamaica, most don't have that, So right now, there's a lot of women crying. There's a lot of women waiting in pain, waiting in fear, just trying to be placed, just somewhere to go to get away from the abuse. But we are calling on the men to stop the abuse. Stop the abuse. Stop the abuse of women. Because these same women that you're hitting on, these same women that you're beating on, you don't want a man to beat on you. When it come down to you having to face a man to fight, you don't want to feel that kind of licks or that kind of pain on your body. No. You don't want to stand up to fight with a man, but you will stand up and torture and take advantage of women. And this is what we are crying out against. This is what we are calling on the authorities to take stricter measures to ensure that you save lives and save our women. All right, this is the prayer of our heart today. This particular guy, the man that beat this woman to death. I did not hear the results of the autopsy, but when I heard it, more than likely, I am thinking that she was strangled. Most time men strangle women and they don't realize the brute force because they vex and they're so much in control. They want to show this woman how strong they are and how much in control they are. They put so much of brute force that when he realized that she was lifeless, it was too late. So when he tried to revive her and couldn't, he called the neighbor and they drop her off. The neighbor is somewhat guilty too. You are not supposed to drop off this woman anonymously and drive off. Somebody, he have to answer somehow. I'm not saying that he should be in trouble, but he should stand up and work with the police to help them to make sure that this person is brought to justice. I have not followed on the story because I was very busy getting myself together to travel and all the other preparation that came along with it. So please forgive me. I'm going to bring that information to you because there was a lot of questions being asked on Facebook and I will answer in a subsequent podcast. All right, but tonight it's all about me um, highlighting and promoting my domestic violence resource booklet. All right. I think it was having to answer a lot of questions, having to deal with the victims when they call the hotline. And most of them, they want answers. They want to know how to do this. They need to know where to turn, what next. And I wanted to put it together where they could understand what next. Some of them, they are being abused and they're scared to say what is happening because of fear that the abuser might find out or what the abuser would do. So what I did, I compiled as much information as I could and I put it together in one booklet. And this is what I'm having for sale. I would like to be able to give it to the victims for free, but I need sponsorship because the amount it is costing to be able to print it, I do not have a general sponsor and I would not be able to distribute this booklet for free. So I'm asking for sponsorship towards the distribution of this particular booklet. All right. So for those, this is it. All right. Um, It is also highlighted on, I'm also going to share a picture of it so persons could literally see what it looks like. All right. And inside, we have our sponsor. I'm not sure if you're seeing properly on the podcast, but on Instagram, you will see that we was part sponsored by PRW Enterprises. Thanks again to Miss Shanti Weston and the team at PRW Enterprises for their continued support towards our domestic violence initiative, towards my um, anything that I'm doing. I have to say, Shanti, she stands up with me and always come out and support. So we thank PRW Enterprises. We're here advertising their online process. So you could shop from PRW anywhere that you are in the Caribbean. All right. So you'll see the PRW, they are on the inside front cover. Then again, how I escaped 9 years of domestic violence. And I went on within the book. I could probably let me read. I understand the fear that comes with being in a situation where you're afraid for your life and for your safety due to an abusive partner. I have been there. I understand it because I have been there. I also understand the reluctance to leave after feeling overwhelmed by fear because I have been there. So when people on Facebook asking, why did she leave? Why did she go back? Sometimes you're out there and you feel so, you don't know what next, and I think this was a young girl. This is such a petite little girl. It pained my heart to see that this boy beat this child to death. Somebody child. And it also, I went on to say it is common to feel ashamed to open up to loved ones or seek help from the authorities out of concern for potential repercussion for the abuser. I am Caleta Figaro, and I am a domestic violence survivor. All right, so you all have a chance to go out there, get a copy of this book. All right, I'm also going to share the website where you could go on to get copies of this particular book at the end of this podcast. All right. Um, in this book, you could look for we have information such as type of abuse. So you would be highlighted on the different type of abuse because sometimes certain things we let it slide and not seeing that they're gonna lead somewhere. And these in domestic violence terms is called red flags. All right, so chapter one, we speak about myself being trapped in a web of fear because that is what kept me there. It was fear, and then knowing that I had nowhere to go and nobody to turn to. All right, then there's breaking the silence where did the intervention by my girlfriend um, Katian Jimenez Alexander. She stepped in and she stood up with me and assisted me to leave. I also, within my acknowledgement, I also give thanks to my girlfriend, Merlene Johnson, because she was also instrumental in helping me to leave my domestic violence situation at the time. She's the one helped me to find a house, and I worked with her at the real estate agency just to be able to stand up on my foot and be able to start over again because I had to leave my job. I had to relocate my daughter from school and I had to relocate my baby, who was 3 months at the time, from daycare to another daycare in Tunapuna, where I was able to start over my life. And I would like that persons would read this book and see that if I could have done it, and I had two children at the time. My eldest daughter was 7 years, and my smaller daughter at the time was 3 months old. She's now 24 years old. All right. And this was after their father called me after years of abuse, 9 years of abuse. And that particular day, he called and he said that, hi, Annalisa. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I thank you for logging on. I'm now speaking about you. So this was after he called and he said that he's gonna kill me, he's gonna kill our two daughters, and he's gonna make history in Barataria. So I didn't allow him to make no history. I had had enough, and I took my two daughters and I ran for my life. They say he who fight and run away would live to fight another day. So I am imploring you, if you're in a domestic violence situation, don't become a statistic. Don't sit and allow yourself to become a statistic. If you are in Trinidad, you have the option. There are countless domestic violence shelters. If you are in Jamaica, reach out. There is help available. Reach out. We do not have the luxury of a lot of shelters, but please call, seek help. Help is there in Jamaica. Go to the nearest police station, or if you check online, everybody have a phone that most people, I should say, if you go online, you will be able to find the domestic violence resource centers in Jamaica, where if you go to the police station, they treat you with respect and they try their best to have you placed or assisted in some way, somehow. But do not sit feeling trapped in a web of fear like I did years ago. Get up and get out. There is life after domestic violence. All right. So again, chapter 2 speak about me breaking the silence. Then in chapter 3, we speak about the most dangerous time. And that most dangerous time, I don't know if anybody could share with me who's looking, what is the most dangerous time? The most dangerous time is when you want to leave, when you decide that you're going to leave. You see, this girl, she left the gentleman. I don't know how she did, how he was able to do it, but he was able to lure her back in and kill her. Okay, so when you leave, run like a fugitive. It have no going back. All right, leaving an abusive relationship. There's a myth that leaving an abusive relationship is easy. Everybody could say this, that. I see people say, oh, well, what they say on Facebook is what they forget. But the reality is a victim faces the greatest risk to their safety when trying to leave an abusive relationship. So it is the most dangerous time. I don't know where Valdine shares is. I wasn't able to send her an invitation, but she's always on. So I'm calling you. Come to the front of the class, Miss Valdine shares. All right. We also have the intimate partner risk assessment questionnaire, where you could go through and and be able to see for yourself where you are in terms of your risk. I also highlight here the difference between anxiety and depression, and we have an anxiety buster worksheet within the manual. All right, number 4, we speak about paying it forward because somebody helped me. And when somebody help you, they are paying forward from what somebody did to them before. I saw a quote that said, when somebody is struggling and they help you, it is not because it is you don't call that help, you call that love. And at the time, Merlene had her own ideals that she was going through, her 4 children, her husband, her business, but she was able to come forward and help me. Kathy Ann left her home with her children and her husband, helped me to move, put her life in danger to help me to pack up that truck and to move. And she spent an entire week just there with me, helping me to put my life back together, helping me to unpack, speaking to me, coaching me, and telling me that, you know, things is going to get better. Just try. And she stood with me. She make bread. She make sweet bread. God knows I do not know where I would be today if it wasn't for Kathy Ann. And I publicly, I say thanks both in my book as well as live here on Facebook during this launch. Kathy Ann and Merlene Johnson, I am saying public thank you. My daughter Anastasia as well. She went through so much, but she weathered the storm and she is always by my side, always cheering on and pushing and encouraging me as a daughter. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder when she became so noble, such a big woman with all this life experiences, always pushing me and cheering me on. She's my biggest cheerleader. Annalisa as well. Annalisa is always with me, always. That's my mini me. Everywhere I turn, she on my heel. And I have to say thank you to my children, Paris as well, my daughter and my sons, giving thanks for them. Chapter 5, we went on to speak about relationship red flags. We spoke about that before. Red flags are subtle little things that we let slide, and we do not, pay attention to it until it is too late. All right. Some of these signs are guilt tripping, coercive behavior, or behavior that pressures you into things, denying their behavior. They would do things and deny their behavior. Lack of trust in you, lack of respect for your feelings, sarcastic comments, downplaying it as jokes. Extreme jealousy, look out for that. You don't know what coming next. Lying, gaslighting, abusive actions in prior relationship. So you always try to dig into their past. Why did you break up with the last person? And don't always take their word for it. Sometimes, ask a friend who know a friend, and you don't say the woman lying or he used to beat the woman because she used to do this. Once he beaten her, he's gonna beat you. All right? We have the danger assessment. And this would be chapter 5, still under chapter 5. We go into chapter 6 where we speak about abusive teenage relationship. Statistics show that 1 in every 3 teenager is being abused physically by their significant other, boyfriend or partner, whatever we want to call it. But our teenage daughters are being abused by their boyfriend, their partner, and they're coming home quietly and not saying it. Whether it's physically abusive, some guys are emotionally abusive. They would curse them out in the worst way, tell them the worst of things, and make them feel like rubbish, and then they come home and you find it quiet. And what happened? Nothing. And this is what our children are going through as well. Okay, so we need to be mindful, pay attention to the signs. All this you'll find within the booklet. It is here. Just get yourself a copy. All right, you can pre-order and the book will be shipped to you um as soon as you place your order. Your book will be placed in the mail and sent directly to you. For those in the UK, I am here right now and you can have your book. I'm going to deliver it to you, or I'm going to be doing some pop-ins at different places where the books will be available. I will also share that on the website and on Facebook. I'll let you all know where you are, where I am. I'm actually very close to the London Library. So I'm going to let you know where I am and what is happening. Probably I may do a live and share my experiences and my journey towards promoting and distribution of this booklet for everybody to see. All right, chapter 7, safety when preparing to leave, which is so very important. Let me highlight. Tell your children that violence is never right, because sometimes the children want to know, Mommy, why you leaving daddy? Because they get so accustomed to daddy beating you that they think it's a normal way of life, that it's part of life. It is not a part of life. All right? Tell them that the violence isn't their fault or your fault, and tell them that when anyone is being violent, it is important to keep safe. All this is highlighted here. You will see extensive information on how to keep safe and how to be safe when preparing to leave, how to create a safety guideline, get safe material to be able to leave, how to plan, who to trust, things like that. All this is very, very, very important. Then we have the legal considerations when escaping um with your children. So they are, because they are not your children alone. We didn't make them by ourselves. Um, obviously. So the father have a certain amount of rights, which sometimes some of them they go at length to exercise that right. That is just to be able to keep a hold on you. I have a friend and I remember seeing her going through hell when she left the husband. He's not a good daddy. He was not and have never been a good daddy. And I am seeing now that she has done a tremendous, wonderful, fantabulous job as a single mom of 4 children, escaping and leaving abuse. And she has brought up those children. They are all educated, all doing well. And I am so proud of her. But that man put her through hell. But eventually she was, because you see, when you're telling the truth will always set you free. So she was able to get her 4 children and she did her best. And now she have 4 well-rounded children. 3 of them adults. One is still a little young, but he's doing very well in school. And I commend her very highly. She knows herself. She knows who I'm speaking about. All right. We also have um, Ask the Lawyer. So you'll see here, there's a law firm that you could call, and he would advise you on what is needed. I don't know why it's not showing up on the podcast, but on Instagram you'll see Figure Associates Law Firm, Ask the Lawyer Radio Show podcast. The information is there where you could reach out to Mr. Brian Figaro and he will assist in any form of advice that you need when it comes to living with your children, legally living with your children. Chapter 9, we speak about femicide, which is a big thing. Femicide is where a man kills a woman. And he killed this woman because why? Because he can kill this woman. He killed this woman because he's bigger and he's stronger. And femicide is happening, let's say, around the world right now. We have too many issues of femicide. And look, for instance, in Trinidad, he just killed this woman and dropped her off. That is considered femicide. For for who don't know, Jamaica, Jamaica has a very high rate of femicide. Trinidad is also growing in terms of femicide. All right, every time a man kills a woman due to domestic violence or a man kill a woman, it is considered femicide. We started off the year on a wrong foot, and like to ask all those praying souls to pray for our women in Trinidad. I was just trying to share with you a video where our Prime Minister said some time ago that, um, women need to choose who they put in themselves with. Do you know, Mr. Prime Minister, that your daughter could go with a very decent looking, very educated, wealthy gentleman and become a victim of domestic violence? Domestic violence knows no race, it sees no face. Money is the richest of family. It happens in every home, any and every home. And there are instances that I could speak about that, but I won't go into it right now. All right. But domestic violence has no boundaries. Any and everybody could be a victim of domestic violence. All right. Calling and thank you for those remix live music. Thank you for joining. Only Pookie, welcome and thank you for being a part of my podcast. Thank you for being a part of my book launch. Encourage your friends to please join and to support. All right, so we're speaking about domestic violence. For those who just joined, we're speaking about the launch of my domestic violence escape resource manual. Too much of people, too much of ladies are losing their lives to domestic violence. Too much of men think that it is okay to beat a woman. And lately he had to beat her to death. We started the year with another man who thought that he could beat his wife, his baby mama, and get away with it. And when she decided to leave, went to her mother's house. He went to her mother's house. He put her to kneel down. He couldn't face her to shoot her, you know. He put her to kneel, facing the wall, and shot her in her back. What kind of coward is that? And when her mother came in, he shot her as well. But you know what we are asking? We are asking what is going on. We want closure on these. Whatever became of those people or those persons who committed the act? What is going on? I'm going to do some regular live because I want to get into where are they? What is happening with them? All right. We lost Marcia Henville some years ago. To date, I still do not know what happened to what is going on with her husband. Is he dead? Is he alive? Is he in jail? Was he charged? What was he charged for? What was his sentence? You know, these are the things we want to know. We don't want to know that the perpetrator was locked up and we don't know he's living his good old life while our friends, our family, our sisters are dead in the worst way, the worst kind of death you could think about, you know. I am Hi Rayan Walters or Rain Walters. Welcome. Zion Orion, what's up, man? Good night. Welcome. All right, so we are calling on the authorities. You know, you all need to give accountability as to what is happening with the perpetrators of these men who killed our family, our friends, our sisters, because domestic violence doesn't only affect a household or it doesn't only affect the children, it affects the nation by extension. So when you kill the mother, it affects the children. Even when you beat the mother, the children, they are affected. So you're affecting the children, you are affecting the family, you're affecting the community because everybody know that that man either beating that woman in that house. It is not nice for the neighbors and the neighbor children. They're trying to figure out what is going on. Why is that man going to that extent? Worse yet, when you kill that woman, what is happening? What is happening? Why? The children can't understand it. The community can't understand it. And you shock the nation by extension. So we want, you all need to give account as to what happened to the persons who committed the act. We don't want to know that they just bury or you will lock him up. What is going on? Has he been charged? What was he charged for? Is he sentenced to life? Or are you all giving him a 3 years or a 5 years and then he back out to kill another woman? That is what we want to know. We want to know what's happening. All right. I'm going to go in a little further. We spoke about safety when preparing to leave, legal consideration when escaping with your children, femicide, and here you can also find DV resources, places that you can get help within Jamaica. We also shared the Jamaica Constabulary. They have 10 domestic violence intervention center, and these centers, they are changing the face of domestic violence intervention in Jamaica. All right, a new generation of police officers is helping domestic violence victims to overcome their darkest hours with care, compassion, and comfort. So they are taking domestic violence seriously. Please do not be afraid to make a call. Please do not be afraid to go down to the station and make a report. You are building a case. You're building your case. Every incident, take pictures. If you got an injury, if you got a black eye, take a picture, save it, or send it to somebody who would keep it safe. Save it in a file, and write down the incident. Keep a journal of these incidents because it is gonna help you later on. All right. Um, so there's 10 domestic violence intervention center in Jamaica, and I'm not gonna say it now because it's a lot. All right. But once you get a copy of the book, you will be able to get all the information, all the resources that is listed here. Then we have chapter 11 that speak about women's shelter and what the women's shelter, what to expect when you enter a women's shelter, what to expect that, it is not a lockdown. It is a chance to go away from the situation and to grow from being a victim to a survivor. And you will be taught the survival skill that will bring you to become a thriver. So you will not just survive domestic violence, but then you could thrive domestic violence. You could become a survivor or slash thriver. All right, because I years ago was a victim of domestic violence. Now I not only survive, I actually brought my first book, and today, this morning, I spent how much hours? I spent over 9 hours on a plane between Jamaica to get to London to be able to launch my book and to bring you quality material. All right. So, you know, after one time is two. All right. We also speak safety planning. There's also the issue of safety planning. You will find the information where you establish a safety plan. Number one, secure your important documents. You open a secret bank account because if you're planning to leave, you don't want to be broken and leave. But there are times that you have to run out. You have to run out, and that is where you establish this particular. Sometimes you don't get to, and that is where you need emergency help and assistance. So you build an emergency fund, you assess your expenses, you seek professional advice. So you call a domestic violence advocate. Um in Trinidad we have Color Me Orange. In Tobago there's Onika Maz. She has Woman of Substance. Valdine Shares is Color Me Orange. I do not have the numbers with me now, but you will find it here in my booklet. Um, you explore financial assistance program because there are financial assistance program that is available to you in Jamaica. I am there in Jamaica as part of the Love Life Now Foundation outreach program, and I can be contacted if you're in Jamaica on 824 sorry 876-824-6470. All right, you protect your credit, update beneficiaries and legal documents, your insurance policies. Always look to go back to that because most of the time when you take out your insurance, you put your partner. So when you're leaving, all these things have to be updated because do you know that if he kills you, who get your money, Gil? All right. So you seek emotional support and all this. Do you know you get all this assistance when you call a domestic violence advocate or when you go to a shelter? All these are outlined. Going to a shelter is not a bad thing. Getting a shelter is a very good thing. Getting yourself in a shelter give you time where you don't even have to worry about where the money coming from to eat and drink and feed your children. And the shelters now they are accommodating mommy and children because they understand that this is a time of crisis. The children are already going through trauma. And when you have to separate children from their mommy to put them in a shelter, you leave that child in utter turmoil. Then the mother is now wondering what is going on with my child or my children. So what I see that they're trying to do is to uh and only Pookie, what about the girl who left the shelter and the man? Only Pookie, let me be honest with you, right? When you go to the shelter, you're not supposed to have a phone. And as a survivor, I could tell you, you left that person because he was beating you. Everybody encouraged you to go into a shelter. But you know what I was taught during my training with Douglas and Associates? I was taught that you allow them to leave when they are ready to leave. You do not force a victim to leave. So in this case, Her mother would be on her case. Leave, I'll get you in a shelter. You need to get away from this man. But she was not ready to leave. So she left and she went to the shelter. But being not ready, being a young girl, being sexually active, she go on in the shelter and she started, you see me, I missing my man. I going home. Because I do not think that she had access to a phone, because when you go to the shelter, you have to give up access to your phone, because we have to think about the other persons within the shelter. So the safety of the persons in the shelter is paramount. So usually you get a little time to grow, a little time to think, a little time to put your life together. So, all these things you put down and you allow them to help you. You allow the professionals to help you and show you the way forward. So, this is what the shelter offers. You get counseling, you are assigned a mentor, a domestic violence mentor, and they train you to go forward and live a life free of domestic violence. But they do not restrain you. It is not a jail. So she was free to leave because she wanted to leave. But we leave and we say, you know what? I missing my man, yes. I could do it a little something. Let me go home because your hormones kick in. I'm not saying this was the case, but I'm saying that these are some of the factors that cause a woman to go back home, because where she was at the shelter, she had the utmost advantage. She don't have children. She is a single woman. So she could have been there for at least 3 months. And I know of shelters in Trinidad that have accommodated persons for up to 2 years just to help them to get back on their feet. So it's not to say that you're there and they're going to kick you out after 3 months. It is not like that. You get the support that is necessary to move forward and start a life free of domestic violence when you attend the shelters, whether it's in Trinidad, whether it's in Jamaica. As a part of Love Life Now Foundation and as a domestic violence advocate on the island with Love Life Now Foundation, we are in the process of trying to raise funds to start our own shelter, because this is one of the biggest problems that we have. When the time comes and persons have to go to a shelter, most of the time there's no, as they say in Jesus' time, there was no room in the inn. There's hardly any vacant position. All right, so sometime I go through hell to try to get somebody placed. Love Life Now Foundation, we also have the Get Safe Fund, and we have a lot of women. Let me share the story for you. Yesterday, I went to the airport early because I live a little far from the airport and I wanted to get there on time. So I was able to drop off early. And while there was a young lady from, I don't know where she's from, but she's sitting in the airport. She visited Jamaica to meet a man. And apparently, I don't know what happened, what went wrong. But when they dropped her back to the airport, she had nowhere to go. So she missed her flight because she took a bus that took very long to get to the airport. So she missed her flight. And she has been sitting. Apparently, she went back to where she was and they told her she couldn't stay there. All right. 'Cause most of these guys, they have their woman. They just want to use you. They encourage you to come, take your money, take whatever gifts or whatever you bring, and then go about your business. You about your business. They take whatever you have to share, and it's time to go. It's time to leave. So she had nowhere to go. So she was in the airport from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yesterday was what? When? No. Today is what? Today is Saturday. Oh, well, today was Saturday. Right? So Saturday she's still there and she may not get something out until Sunday. All right? So this is what is happening. Women are leaving their country. I'm begging you guys. If you are, whether you're in Canada, a lot of Canadian girls come. Last year we had this woman came, Jada Whitehead, and she lost her life. That particular husband that she came to spend time with, he killed her. All right, she was beaten. He didn't kill her. Again, It was an accident. All right, but she got killed in the melee. He beat her. She hit her head on the wall. The head was swollen. She didn't go to the hospital. She decided that she's going to sleep and never woke up. The injury, so most likely it would have been bleeding to the brain or whatever. But this is what is happening. This particular girl that we were speaking about, who came from the shelter and went back home, he didn't even realize when he killed her. And most likely, what he would have been doing is strangulation. When you strangle somebody, you do not know the amount of force. Sometimes you do not know when the life cut off from their body until it is he realized that whatever he doing and she not her body just lifeless. And that is when he decided to take her to the hospital. Hello. I would like the government to find that man and deal with him to the full extent of the law. You know, um, I would like cowboy justice, as they would call it. But given the time that we are in, we have to have a heart that forgives. I am trying my best to have a heart that forgives. Okay. As I was saying with the girl, she came, she's in the airport, not a bath. All she could do is go in the bathroom, in the toilet, sorry, brush her teeth and probably rinse off. But she has not had a bath for this entire week because she have nowhere to go and she ran out of money. Probably gave it away. And she have no money, and a lot of girls is coming to Jamaica and getting themselves caught in that web. All right. Um, I also had a case last year where there was a victim came from Canada again. She was severely beaten by the person who invited her, beaten to the point where the both eyes were bloodshot and one was stuck together and bulging practically. All right. She had to be placed. We had to find somewhere for her to stay. And eventually, the company that I work with out of Boston, Massachusetts, Love Life Now Foundation, they purchased a ticket for her and she was able to go back to Canada as part of the Love Life Now Foundation Get Safe Fund. And that Get Safe Fund actually help British nationals, American nationals, and Canadian national to head back to their destination because this is something that we're dealing with on a on a regular where these women leave their country, the UK, the US, and Canada to seek love in the Caribbean with these guys who lure them with a lot of love in talk and promises that amongst the abuse. You know, we are trying to establish a local Get Safe fund where if somebody need to leave one point and get a yes real licks music remix music, yes it is true. Oh, remix music, that's my darling. How are you, my darling? What's going on? um or should I say my son-in-law? Okay, so they leave their country and come seeking love, and they end up getting licks, not love, licks, and have to run. And that is after having all their stuff taken away from them and they empty handed, nothing. So this is where Love Life Now come in. We would try to purchase a ticket. For the UK, it is quite expensive. Um, and we purchase a ticket to the extent of 500 US. That is as far as the Get Safe Fund will go. We purchase a ticket and help you to get back to your home. So we are asking persons to go to www.lovelifenow.org and support. There's a button there where you could donate to our Love Life Now um, Foundation cause, and you will be able to help a woman to get safe because in Jamaica, we are trying to also establish the local Get Safe. Jamaica is huge. So you could leave Clarendon and go to a family member in Montego Bay or go to a family member in St. Elizabeth to get away from the violence because of the fact that there is hardly any shelters on the island. We are trying to find an alternative to get women out of these situations. Even if you support to the point where we will be able to help them to find somewhere to stay. We also do our Get Safe care packages where we assist persons to with the items that is necessary while you're on the run. You have a bite to eat, you have water, you have sanitary napkins, you have toiletries. So this is what Love Life Now Foundation does, and we are asking for your support. I am the person that deals with the Caribbean operation. I'm actually the director of Caribbean operation. um, our founder and president is Laverne Gordon. She is based in Boston, Massachusetts, and she is the one heading all this, um, all these initiative that is geared towards assisting. We are also in the process of becoming established in Trinidad, but for now, we are working on Jamaica, to give the assistance that is necessary for the persons who need it there right now. All right. So back to the book, chapter 12, we speak about domestic violence as a whole. All right. Domestic violence, also known as intimate partner violence, battering, or spouse abuse, is a pattern of abusive behavior used in a relationship to gain control and power over an intimate partner. So it actually highlights what what really is domestic violence. And it also goes on. Our esteemed Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago in his interview. I'm sorry I couldn't download it to be able to show it. He said, choose your partner. But it goes on here to show it happens to everyone across race, gender, socioeconomic status, education, sexual orientation, sorry, according to a report by the United Nations. More than 500,000 women were killed worldwide by an intimate partner or family member in 2017, something our border criminal defense lawyers know all too well. So, this is something that, come on, internationally, it is known that domestic violence shows no face. It happens in every home across any socioeconomic status. So you don't have to be rich, you don't have to be poor, you don't have to be well educated, you don't have to be dunce. You know, you could be a farmer, you could be a lawyer, you could be a doctor. Everybody doing it. Or not everybody, but there's a lot of people. So you cannot discriminate and say the women need to choose their men correct. Mr. Prime Minister, that statement, it was not. It was not. That is all I would say. It was not. All right. Um, Also, I have a list here where you could get help in Trinidad. So you see the list here in Trinidad where you could get resources, which also include Onika Mars. She's a survivor advocate mentor assigned to women of substance. And Valdine Tamara shares. She is with Color Me Orange in Trinidad. And there's also a list of other good places that you could go to for assistance. We also have where we highlight um, our efforts here at Love Life Now Foundation. Um, if you look, you will see where I do my pop-in awareness, where I go to different places and highlight the issues surrounding domestic violence. And you would see here um, Annalisa Vera as a masquerader. That is our domestic violence presentation for Carnival in Trinidad. We did a a safety hub, all right, where persons, anybody, any woman who is on the road playing mass and they needed assistance, they could have come to our safety booth around the Queen's Park Savannah and get assistance. So that is had there with the banner at our 2024 domestic violence safety booth. Okay, and to the bottom, those are our care packages done by Love Life Now Foundation that we distribute to the health centers and the police stations, um, and also to women who need support while fleeing domestic violence. Okay, so I ask you again to go on our website www.lovelifenow.org and support. This is Love Life Now Foundation, our Healathon. This is one of the initiatives that is done to raise funds in the US to highlight the issues surrounding domestic violence and where we get help in the Caribbean to to be able to help these women to leave Jamaica and go back to where they are supposed to go, to be able to staff our hotline as well as every other good thing. This is our Jamaica Carnival presentation, where we highlight the issues surrounding domestic violence during the carnival. And persons were very happy and were they really accepted this initiative. So this is our carnival presentation, domestic violence Carnival Awareness Initiative for Jamaica Carnival. And that is it. So I'm encouraging persons go out and purchase a copy of my book. I'm going to share the website that you all could go to make your purchase. Um, you can purchase via Cash App 1718 718. Just I'm gonna check the number for you guys. But in the meantime, I'll also like to highlight my girlfriend Valine Shares. She also produced her own book that highlighted her story and her journey with domestic violence. It is called Free from Mental Bars. You all could look for it, go out and support her as well. It is a very good read. Okay, look for it online, Free from Mental Bars. Look out for Valdine Shares on Facebook, support her book. It would share a lot of very important information on domestic violence and watch her journey as to where she is now, not just a survivor, but a thriver of domestic violence. All right, as my colleague in Trinidad and my president and founder of Love Life Now Foundation, Valdine, Laverne Gordon. All right, her book is The Legacy He Left Me, where she also shared her journey with domestic violence and the reason why she is doing the work that she's doing today. So look out for the legacy that he left me. It is at Muhammad's book. So I think Valine's book is at Muhammad's as well in Trinidad. So when I come to Trinidad, I'm also going to be placing my books in the bookstore. But you could find The Legacy He Left Me at Muhammad's. You could also find Free from Mental Bars at Muhammad's. But you have to purchase my book, and at you will purchase this book online and it will be mailed to you in the meantime. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for looking on. Any topic that you all would like me to touch on tonight in terms of domestic violence? Somebody asked a question. I think I answered that. Only Pookie, she asked about, hi, Jablaze. Good night, my darling. And welcome to everybody who took the time out to come on and listen. Set good girl 123. Good night. And thank you for following me. Khadijah. Good night. Welcome. So the only question that I got was only Pookie asking about the girl that left. And I answered, it is, I'm trying to be as truthful as I can. You do not force a victim to leave. And I am seeing here where this is possibly where somebody tell her you need to leave and go in a shelter. She did not leave on her own accord. So a woman leaves a domestic violence, abusive relationship. It takes them between 7 to 10 times leaving and going back before they really make up their mind. I have had enough. I myself left my kid's dad on many occasions, many occasions. I remember Annalisa, just say my name, mommy. Yes. So I remember when my daughter was very small, I went to my sister and I told her about the abuse, and she told me to I guess they're not accustomed to that. They didn't know about domestic violence. So the first time I remember reaching out, it was getting so overbearing. I don't know if she was small or I think I was still pregnant with Anastasia. And I went and I told her, I said, I want to know if I could come to the house because this man is beating me. And he wasn't just beating, he was threatening me all form and fashion. And she told me, better try and make it work. Go back and try and make it work. And that time I went back and I didn't speak about it again. Another time after the abuse, I went to my girlfriend's house, Carol, and she was in Shafford Courts at the time on the fourth floor. And I remember going to her house and I'm there with Anastasia, young baby, and I started to feel like if I'm a burden before the week is out, I started to feel like, where will I get money? I have this young baby and not working and I'm at Carol's house. How am I going to feed this baby? I can't sit down here and be a burden on Carol and went straight back home because I didn't want to feel like I'm a burden to anybody. I remember another time I left and I went to St. Joseph some street, I think Ramsing Street or Ramnarayan Street in St. Joseph, and I was staying there. And this man, he used to go by a bar on a hill, and I didn't know. It's after a while the person, the owner of the bar, came to see who I was and told me that I need to be careful because it have a man coming and sitting black every day and just looking at us at the house. He was able to notice that, so that was me putting myself in danger. And I remember he threatened me and I went back, and I went back and I was there again, taking licks, taking the abuse. And I'm being honest. I'm being honest. There were times I have people who could attest and who know and who I have my neighbor. I was speaking to my neighbor Noel on Facebook because he now reside in the US. And we talking and he just stayed just to him. And I bet he used to cut your ass, na girl. And he start to laugh him. Look at you now. Thank God after all these years you're still here. you know it is it is not nice. It is not nice where neighbors are seeing you being abused. And I remember in those times nobody didn't used to do anything because he didn't used to just beat. He used to brandish cutlass, um be threatening. This is a man used to come in the middle of the night, and when he come in he put on the radio hard. So he would come in like all 4 o'clock in the morning, put on the radio hard, and he would take a cutlass and run it from one end of the corridor on the concrete to the other end. And I would be flying up out of my sleep in fear, and these are some of the things that I would go through. And I just had to stay quiet, hug up my daughter, and try not to say anything because I know he in a bad mood and he coming with the intention to be abusive. So, woman, you don't judge a woman for going back. Sometimes you don't know the circumstances. At the time, I had nowhere to go. I had nowhere to go. I am renting, you're coming, you're stressing out my life, threatening me that if I don't come back, what and what you will do. Okay, I go back. When I go back, is this. So, it is a frustrating thing for a woman going through this. And at the time, I did not know, I was not aware, and there was nobody doing what I am doing now. And what most people, Valdine wrote a book about her abuse. Valdine went through hell. Laverne wrote a book to try to encourage persons. I myself, because of the training that I got at Douglas and Associates and everything I learned, and from me being a hotline and being answering questions, I decided, you know what, how could I help these women? How could I? And I decided to compile all these information, put it together, and put it out there so that somebody could read and be enlightened and know that help is here. In my time, I didn't have nowhere to turn. I remember the 800 save. There was one time I called that 800 save number, but I think at that time they weren't serious because when I called, the woman listened to everything I said, promised to call me back, and she never did. I would not call her name. But right now, because of the prevalence of domestic violence and how dangerous it is getting, There have been a lot of measures put in place to save lives. Too much of women are losing their lives to domestic violence in Trinidad, in Jamaica, throughout the world, I should say, throughout the Caribbean, but Trinidad and Jamaica, check it out. They're on top. Check it out, and it's not a good look. It is not a good look. Okay, Jamaica is number 11. Internationally, it was number 2. Recently, I checked, they are at number 11 in terms of femicide. All right, so there are other countries that running competition. So what I will do, I will strive to, as often as possible, highlight the issue surrounding domestic violence. And we're going to take it from a stance, a scared straight point, where you all could see what is happening, see that women are losing their lives just for staying in a relationship. And you all could know, let me get up and run because I do not want to be a statistic of domestic violence. Okay? So, with that being said, I thank you all. I thank Barbie Millie09 for joining. You just joined. We're speaking about domestic violence and the issues surrounding this domestic violence. I'm actually highlighting the launch of my new booklet, which is a domestic violence handbook and a resource manual. All right. Um, so with that being said, I'm gonna say a prayer and we're gonna close for tonight. But if you want to get the book, it is available at 1718 496 9633. You can purchase via Cash App on 1718 496 9633. There's also the website. You can go on the website. Um, Let me share that information. So you can visit my website on, it is now being constructed thanks to Figure and Associates. Um, they are the ones putting together the website at this time. So it is www.escapedomesticviolence.org. That website again is www.escapedomesticviolence.org. So you can check out the website. Everything is being put in place where persons can purchase the books starting this week. Books will be distributed starting this week. All right. Give me some time for shipping and handling because it is being sent out of the UK and we will be here. I am here and I will be playing mass. I will be playing mass to highlight the issues surrounding domestic violence. So it will be our domestic violence presentation, Defender of the Roses, and our booth will be highlighting the issues surrounding domestic violence. It's just awareness. Domestic violence awareness is everybody business. All right. Again, domestic violence awareness is everybody's business. So this is why I'm here. All right. So thank you all for listening. Heavenly Father, I wanted to thank you for everyone who took the time to come on tonight. I thank you. I ask you to bless their homes, bless our women, bless the women who are living in and dealing with domestic violence. Give them the strength and the courage to reach out for help, knowing that help is here. Lord Father, give them the strength to leave and start a life where they could not just survive, but become so thrivers of the, they will have so thrived domestic violence. There's life after domestic violence. Bless their home, bless the individuals, give them the strength and the courage to push forward. In Jesus' name we pray. Bless our families and bless my endeavor with the Love Life Now Foundation as well as my domestic violence manual. In Jesus' name I pray. that nothing that I put my hand to will not be, will not come to naught. It will be fruitful. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you. You all good night. And thank you again for watching. So here I was saying, this is the first time I'm doing a live on Instagram and I'm trying to get out. So anybody who want to tell me how to come out, tell me. This is my first time. All right, let me put in a comment here. www.escape. All right, that is the website that you could go to get information. All right, so I don't know how to end the live, but tell me. All right, good night, everyone. Bye. Love you guys. Blessings.